So I like comic books quite a bit. But as a kid, there were only 2 comic book series that I read. One was The Adventures of Tintin, which I got from the library. And I think that's kind of a deep cut, but, you know, there's still enough people that recognize who Tintin is that it's not that weird. The other one was weird. Every couple months, me and my family would go to Lifeway Christian bookstores. We'd pick up, you know, the latest Toby Mac CD, or I assume my mom was picking up the latest Beth Moore Bible study. But something else we got was issues of this comic. I got an issue and my brother got an issue, and I remember really enjoying it, reading it, discussing it with him, recommending it to friends even. But then as time went on, it disappeared. I don't know what happened to our single issues, but they disappeared somewhere. And so did my memories. I had a few fleeting ones, but let's just say when I went to Google it to make sure that I hadn't just made it up, it took me several tries. My brother even barely remembers it. So this is really one of those things that kind of makes you think, is this just something I made up as a kid? But no, it exists. I know it exists because I now own it. Took me a couple times to figure out what the name was, but I eventually found it, and I have bought the first series, and oh my word, this is so ridiculous. It's called Power Mark. Such a biblical name. It's like, yo, you heard about the Gospel of Mark? What if it had power? I'm very giddy that I now own this. So, I have done some research, what the story was, and I kind of remember bits and pieces, but not much. There is some vague good military fighting against some vague atheist cult thing called Leviathan, and our boy Power Mark here gets injured in one of the battles. And so he gets to go, instead of, you know, be like a desk general or like help with strategy or whatever, he gets put in charge of an orphanage where kids learn to program Bible stories into VR. Seems kind of like a downgrade. I don't know. I would rather be doing that than fighting in battles, so I guess it's an upgrade to some people. One man's trash is another man's Bible story VR program. I remembered the Bible story element, and specifically I remembered Joseph, the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors. I don't remember why I remember that one specifically. I guess it was one of the first that me and my brother got, and thus I read it a lot. But other than that, I don't know, and I haven't opened this up. We're gonna discover this together, or at least those who have sat through this introduction. One more weird thing. I remember getting these in standard 22-page single-issue comic books, right? But this is not what a usual comic paperback looks like a collected, they call them trades, but collected trade looks like. This is what a trade looks like usually. It's printed in color, it's bigger than a normal book size, but is a little bit thinner. This looks more like a manga. I borrowed this from my roommate without asking him. I'm sorry, Joe. Printed in black and white, more standard book size. The only difference is that this isn't printed backwards like these are. You read manga right to left instead of left to right. You don't do that with Power Mark. While researching, I found this blurb on atomicavenue.com. Who says comics with a Christian point of view have to be boring? Steve Benintendi, a real-life Asian missionary, had been searching for a way to reach billions of kids with the gospel of Jesus Christ. He noticed Asian comics were incredibly popular and felt comics may be the way to reach his goal. Thus, Power Mark was born. Thanks, Jerry Smith. So that's probably why this looks like manga. Or not, who knows? Let's dive in. Alright, so the first page we do get a Meet the Characters page. We have Mark Chin, he's our main dude. He's the Power Mark. He's from Singapore, which makes me think that that's probably where Steve was a missionary. You have Fonte, who's from Egypt. Can you tell? She's kind of cool because she's deaf. It's cool to have a character with disabilities. Then you have Nanny, that is a robot made character. I remember her, specifically I remember her getting destroyed in one issue. I wonder if that will happen. It also probably tells you something about this comic book's worldview, that the domestic service robot is coded very female. Then you have Yossi, the oldest of the group. Among the boys, he is the responsible one. He can always be counted on to do the mature thing and act as a conscience of the group. So he's the boring one. You may have noticed so far that this is a very international cast, but it's international in the way that, like, Captain Planet's international, where it comes at the cost of diving into a lot of stereotypes. You got TJ. He's from an inner city and likes basketball. So there's one. Mei Mei, who likes panda bears a lot. Once again, just look at Fonte. Also, so it tells you what country they're from. But of course, at some points, they just give up on picking a specific country. For example, Safia comes from Africa. I mean, Fonte also comes from Africa. Esther is from South America. Although I will say with Esther, she knows how to fight with weapons, which is cool reading through these, because most of the female characters are described as gentle, or my favorite, never goes anywhere without her smile. Ivan is nicknamed Ivan the Terrible. His father is part of the Christian group who runs this, so props for them not doing the godless communist atheist. Although Ivan is the troublemaking maker, so at least they made the Russian the bad guy. Yeah, Feng Sha, who is a mech/human. This is the bad robot I mentioned. This is the coolest thing as a kid. So we start off, it's Leviathan. We have to get these kids out of here. Give me air support on the double. Alright, action-packed adventure. I guess this is where Power Mark gets injured. Feng Sha. What kind of animal are you? These are just kids. It's not them I want. I'm here for you. Then let's leave them out of it. Die, Mark Chin. So that's where Mark dies, or doesn't die. Short comic if he did. So Mark gets attacked and injured by Feng Sha. He's about to die when an airstrike comes in. No, I've got to protect the children. Starts talking to the leader of the military about Feng Sha. Why me? What is Feng Sha's secret? What does he want with me? Yeah, I remember this. Feng Sha's identity was a big, mystery. And, they printed in the back of the, one of the issues, Feng Sha's will be revealed, send in your guesses. I'm pretty sure that it was his sister, but I don't know for sure. We kind of get a mission statement from the author before the actual plot begins. Mark is talking, so there are two groups. There's the worldwide Christian group and then the Alliance, but they're basically the same group. So you have the military and the Christians. That always went well. But anyway, you have this Christian group and they're talking, Christian leaders around the world are deeply troubled by the trend we see developing with our young believers. With the recent advances in entertainment technology, the younger generation has little interest in reading. Our young ones are not reading the Book of Ages. I like that they put an editor's note that's the Bible, even though there's a Jesus fish on there. They're worried that because of the entertainment technology, kids won't read the Bible anymore. I mean, even before then, were the kids really reading the Bible for entertainment, though? Oh, we meet Nanny here. He's getting sent off. It's, of course, super high-tech, this VR center that he's going to. And he sees these droids, and he's like, K-25 mechs, I've heard about these little guys. Not all of us are guys. I don't know where these voices are coming from. This is basically what I do each Sunday in my D&D game. I come up with the most ridiculous voices and then have to backpedal or commit. And usually, unfortunately, I commit. I am Nanny, a nursing and nurturing interface. Once again, have to make sure that this character, this robot, is female. We have to make sure you know that. Oh boy, Mark looking like straight Cyclops up in here. And we get introduced to all our characters. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're starting to see the dark AI side of Nanny. Allow me to present Nanny. Come on, man, we don't need a stinking nanny. Inappropriate attitude, verbal insult, phase 1 penalty required. It just zaps TJ. It's safe to say, whoever wrote this probably is a fan of certain amount of corporal punishment for their kids. But a taser probably isn't the best in any situation. Oh, almost immediately we get Nanny being destroyed. TJ with his basketball accidentally knocks her into some cups and electrocutes her. I wonder if that's what I remember her being destroyed from. Alright, so they're introduced to the holodeck and they meet Jesus. And now for the real power. First we'll set it to full 3D rendering, and this one's for you, Mei Mei. Look, It's Jesus. Just Jesus popping up. Mei Mei runs straight through. That's cruel. Like, this kid really wants to see Jesus, apparently. Then you just make her run through it. Alright, so we get introduced to the VR technology, and I think they do a pretty good job of making the Bible art style different enough from the regular art style. And in general, like, this isn't great art, but it's solid. It's fine. We get some Jesus. We get a lot of Jesus here. No, we get all of Jesus. We don't just get the hits, we get the predictions. Look, it's Jesus returning just like he said he would. All that is a bunch of clouds. I like to imagine this guy is just confused by any time he sees a mass of clouds. But there is Jesus in the most metal of poses. I am the Alpha and the Omega, who is and who was and who is yet to come. I love their reactions. Like, most people are just shocked. This kid right here is like, I have to sit. That's basically the end of the first one. And so the rest of the issues kind of go as you would expect them. The kids program their Bible stories while some, Leviathan shenanigans go on in the background. So you get some Noah, you get some Jacob, you get some Feng Sha stealing their superjet and one of the kids being trapped aboard it. Chapter 4, we get Nanny being taken over by, like, the bad guys. And, like, it ends in this very ominous frame. I love it. I love it so much. Nanny's evil now. This is also the Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat issue. This is the page I remember because it's the youngest kid and he's designing Joseph's coat. And he's making it all wild and stuff. And they're like, it's not what it looks like. I'm like, how do you know? Which, fun fact about Joseph's coat. Some people think that's better translated as just a coat with long sleeves. So you know what? If you're gonna make it colorful, go all out anyway. Like I said, the Russian kid is the troublemaker. He just has a problem with authority. And, like, as you may have noticed, I've tried not to replicate these characters' accents, but every time I read one of his pages, I kind of can't help it. That ought to keep you out of my hair for a few hours. Now I have the room all to myself. It's not even good. It's not even a good accent. Same like Joseph. Maybe they sell Mick and he'll be a slave. You have to make connections to the Bible story with what's going on in the story. But I wasn't expecting that. Oh boy. Feng Sha just hanging out straight in hell in this image. There is enough plot and action here that it's not boring. There are twists and turns. There's a part where Feng Sha has like a falling out with the rest of Leviathan. Falling out is like a minor word. You don't have a falling out with the world's dominant atheist cult. And we do get this sick cliffhanger at the end. It's when Nanny gets taken over. Leave the kids out of this. It's me you want. Yes, it's you I want. And you I shall have. I don't care who I have to kill to get to you. You will die. Feng Sha, who are you? Someone you know very well. Someone you know very well. Yeah, and that's the line that kind of ended and made you think, like, oh, that's, his sister, whoever. Y'all, Fonte's story is the 12 plagues. I don't know what the optics of making your Egyptian character make their VR story be the 12 plagues is saying, but I'm not sure I like the implications. Also, like, these are a lot of Old Testament stories and a lot of, like, pretty violent ones. Now, that does have the fringe benefit of, like, the action in the story, like, having stakes, because they're killing people in the Bible stories. They might as well kill people in this. But at the same time, I'm really over, like, upholding all the violence in the Old Testament. Like, the story of Jericho isn't cool, y'all. We don't need to be teaching kids that it's cool. This was the scene that made me think that Feng Sha was his sister. He goes home and he's talking to his sister on Skype, and she has this look. I gotta go, Mom. I only had a minute. Something shifty's going on. You're not talking to your mother in a Christian comic book? Unless you're going to read your Bible, you're a bad guy. Okay, chapter 10, Feng Sha revealed. He comes in with Jade and Jai. I call them the Tiger Twins because they have these ridiculous outfits that have tiger stripes on them. It's kind of harder to tell in black and white, but 100% they're tiger stripes. The Tiger Twins and Power Mark go into his uncle's house because they think he's Feng Sha, and they find the armor there. And he's like, you're my uncle, how could you do this to me? But then in the next episode, which is called Trojan Horse, someone else sneaks into the Feng Sha armor, which they're bringing to their headquarters, the good guys' headquarters. Seems like a bad plan, but alright. So it's not the uncle, still holding out that's the sister. Feng Sha comes and electrocutes these guys. Fools, Trojan Horse is affording me the opportunity I have been hoping for. Feng Sha goes into the VR center, the holodeck, the danger room, whatever you want to call it. And the story that whichever kid is working on this issue is Peter betraying Jesus. And so we get to see flashbacks to Feng Sha's life, which 100% this is the sister. Flashbacks to her life with Peter's story. Dear Jesus, take away my sins and make me clean. Rubbish! This is all rubbish. I was a foolish child. I know better now. Where are you, Mark? It's time for my revenge. You're one of those sissy Christians, aren't you? Yeah, admit it, sissy. So Christians have this thing where, like, 100% they feel like they are the most oppressed people in the world. And, there certainly are parts of the world that Christians do face, some suppression. But if the worst you're facing is just some very generic bullies calling you a sissy, I think you can stick that one through without putting on power armor and trying to kill your brother. Alright, so Peter betrays Jesus. No! And at the same time, Feng Sha's like, what did I do? I betrayed Jesus. No, what have I done? You have the kids come in, you have Power Mark come in, everyone's like, it's Feng Sha. Mark takes off the helmet. No, it can't be. And then we get our next issue. Who could it be? Put your bets in now. Colonel Chin, do you know this person? Yes, I do. This is my sister, Trina. I did it, y'all. I beat the comics written for children. The issue opens with her being like, Mark, forgive me. Please forgive me. I don't know what came over me. That's something you say when, you snap at someone. When you're just, it's been a long day, and someone says something, it gets under your skin, and you just yell. That's when you say something came over me. When you have dedicated multiple years of your life to trying to kill your own brother, you have to say something slightly more responsibility taking than something came over me. So we get the plot starting to wrap up for this volume of the story. We have the troublemaker Ivan coming to apologize. Mark talks to his sister in prison. Apparently she was taking drugs, I guess? So her uncle was tricking her into taking drugs because it's like, those are for allergies. So I guess something did come over her. I guess I have to take out that whole rant, except I'm not going to. It's still a poor choice of words. Ivan makes his VR thing. It's creation. Yes, look at the evil serpent. After the evil serpent gives Eve the fruit to eat from, God curses it, and one of the many parts of the curse is that you'll crawl on your belly. So some people who read this super literally think that meant that snakes had legs. So we get this sweet looking lizard thing at the end, like, yo, Leviathan's still around. And now they have space armor, which admittedly is pretty sick. Yeah, and that's the end. We get the author's note, but that's really just him being like, there's gonna be more. This is wild. So this is projecting visuals from a ton of manga, like Power Rangers, like Transformers, and it's just all meshing it together, but then it's constantly being interrupted by Bible stories too. I love this as a kid, and I'm glad I own it. It's pretty messy now. They are just kind of trying to shove in too much stuff, but it's not unentertaining. Ultimately, in the canon of Christian children's entertainment, this is definitely near the lower end. It's not as technically proficient in its medium as something like Adventures in Odyssey. It doesn't have humor that holds up like VeggieTales, but it definitely is a step up from other, like, we're gonna try to make the Bible cool things, like Bible Man, just barely. I'm really glad I got to sit down and read Power Mark, Series 1. And I'm glad for whoever decided it would be a good idea to watch this video all the way through. I doubt you're out there, but I commend you for your effort. See you tomorrow with hopefully a shorter and more interesting video.